Welcome to Beyond Resume, where careers and analytics come alive. This is where we explore the intersection of innovation and human experience. The stories that shape leaders and the principles that drive success in our field. I'm Kaushik, an advanced analytics and AI professional with over 20 years in the industry and a decade of leading teams. Today, I have a guest who truly reflects what this show is all about. Pankaj Rai is the Group Chief Data Analytics Officer at Aditya Birla Group, one of the India's largest conglomerates, spanning cement, financial services, fashion, chemicals, and much more. But the titles only tell a fraction of the story. Pankaj's career is a 30-year masterclass in reinvention. He started as a management consultant, moved into project financing, led credit and Six Sigma operations, managed shared services strategy, built analytics teams from scratch, drove enterprise-wide digital transformation, and now leads data and analytics maturity across multiple businesses at Aditya Birla Group. But here's what makes Pankaj's story really compelling. He is not just a data leader. He is someone who publicly celebrates active parenting, champions women's economic empowerment, and supports education in government schools. IIT Delhi and Ahmedabad, and a career path that zigged and zagged in the most deliberate way. Pankaj, welcome to Beyond Resume.
Thank you, Kaushik, for having me on your show.
All right. Pankaj, we would love to start at the beginning of your career. IIT Delhi, electrical engineering, then Ahmedabad. That's a classic elite Indian pedigree. But you didn't go into core engineering or traditional finance. You went into management consulting first and then kept pivoting. Now, looking back, was there a moment maybe in the IIT labs or the IIM classrooms where you realized that my path is not going to look like what everyone expects of someone with these degrees?
Yeah. So, Kaushik, first of all, what I want to say is that whenever we look at anyone's career or life or whatever, what we see is sort of what is visible, which is the what, which is the maybe the outcome of something. But the why and how is not visible. So, if you look at the very famous Simon Sinek, uh, and he that video is of a golden circle. He draws three circles. And he says why is in the center, then how in the middle, and what in the outside. And he draws the analogy to say any company, in any human being, in any situation, the what is visible. It's almost like the company's profit is visible. But why the company exists and how they operate is not visible. Same for human beings. You Shah Rukh Khan or you see anyone or you see Kaushik or Pankaj or whatever. So you see us, but we don't know why do we work and how do we get there. I think that the value or the learning lesson in always is in the why and how, not in the what. Because what is the final outcome? But how did it come to it is where the value is. Therefore, I think our LinkedIn or whatever you see on the is the final output. It's the what, but the why and how is not. So I think it's worthwhile talking about the why and how of it. Then it explains what happened because the what itself does not contain information or insight using my data analysis. So I think the common theme, at least in my career in life, and which would be, I think, quite prevalent in most people in my journey was that the decision making paper was mostly by elimination, not based on passion, if I can say, the current terminology applies to. the reason for that was quite simple. It wasn't as if there was any other option because the scarcity economy that we all grew up in. I mean, when you are, you don't have choices. I mean, it's a simple thing. And we came talking about your previous station. I say that there were two cars which were Ambassador and this one Fiat. There were two scooters which were Lambretta and Vespa. There were two toothpaste which was Forgate or Four Hands, right? So there was one watch which was a Chinity. so so there were two careers, doctor or engineer, right? So in that was out there was a very limited quantity, and therefore the decision-making network was always based on somehow combination of something that either you can get or you can try. And whatever you got, then you are fortunate, very happy that, at least I got something. And you moved ahead very happily. You didn't have any regrets because you thought the three choices. One of them I either didn't get or didn't like. The other one I got. Whatever it is, that's all there is. There's no other choice. Let's be happy. So I think all of us in that generation were shaped in the scarcity era by this method. And in fact, therefore, we were reasonably happy because we knew there was nothing else we could have done. Come to now, here, whatever you may forget,
Yep.
so always something or someone which say, "वो नहीं मिला," could have gotten something else. So therefore, despite getting much more than what is possible, there's always that regret that someone else could have got something. So I'm just kind of highlighting that the decision-making approach of the scarcity and the abundance era is quite different and quantitatively very different. So what will never reveal happiness index? Because what will only tell you what you got, but the way you are protecting it, the way you got to it, or why you think about it, all of those are different. So in my case, if I were to apply this theory, my father was a IIT Bombay graduate. And clearly, if you were in those days, he was a 67 batch graduate. So, of course, he did well, in his career. And he felt that his children should also go to IIT because he felt that IIT got him to a certain stage in life and he got some, good jobs and good promotions. So, this must be a good way to make a career. So, me and my younger brother from a very young age were told that you have to go to IIT. That's what he knew best and that's what we were told. And he didn't know any better. He said, okay, if Papa has gone there and he tells us and will, beat us up if he lost one mark in maths, which might be a story of people of that generation that, oh, I never got less than 100. How can you get 99 type of a situation? So that's how we grew up. And then, of course, I always say that my dad achieved all his goals in life, sending both his sons to IIT. So I don't think it is my achievement, my father's achievement, who had many other achievements. So the MD of the public sector company, right, and so on. Right? So therefore, through elimination, things happened. So first was, of course, engineering, was thanks to my dad. But next, the elimination started because I also, after engineering, did what everyone else did, with CRE, and tried to apply abroad to go and do master. What a lot of people were doing. But the SOP came to my desk. It's not a purpose that US universities asked you to write. No one had ever asked me anything. No one ever asked me to write my why. And when I wrote to SOP, said that how genuinely I would love to do electrical engineering, I realized that it was not true. I don't even think I ever enjoyed doing bachelor's of electrical. I did it because I was probably good at it and I did it, but it wasn't as if it was my calling. So I stopped applying. But I said, no, this is obviously not right. So I eliminated that. Now the other option left was the CAT exam, but there was no third option. So I did that exam, and then there was no option. Got whatever you got, and you went there. Now I am Ahmedabad always appears to be a very great college, and like I must be a smart cookie to get that. But that was the only college that I got, and the reason for that was that I was not good at group discussion. I didn't talk, and I later on learned that in my group discussion situation, I am in Ahmedabad. They said that whoever was the moderator, don't do a group discussion. All of you have this topic. 2 minutes, all of you talk. Maybe that fellow was like me who has probably been hurt by not being able to talk and he felt, let me not torment these guys, let everyone talk. So I also spoke for 2 minutes, whatever I did. So I think that I probably must have gotten some marks because of that group discussion, because I spoke something, because I was allowed to. No one else called me, so I got there. So I'm just saying that such a chance that then I asked other people that, oh, looks like IMA doesn't have group discussion. I said, no, we all had it. So looks like only in my case, in that person decided to do what he did and I got through. So I'm just saying that I was lucky to get through Ahmedabad because no one else, called me because I never spoke in any GP. There again, after going there, it wasn't as if I enjoyed MBA. I mean, it was good. I mean, I was doing something, but it wasn't. It was like just like electrical engineering that there was something happening. But go to class, I learned something about it. It wasn't as if I was enjoying it like all the subjects. They were like, okay, I have to pass the exam. So I didn't do too well in academics any place. I was like somewhere in the maybe the top quartile or top 30% of the class, never in the top 10. either in engineering or in MBA. There also, I got my job only at day four. Day four is a pretty low pay in a MBA school. Now, day one to three, you get all the good jobs. So I had only two options there again. Like I said, two options. So I got one to sell light bulbs for Wipro. Wipro was a consumer arm, and the other was Feedback Ventures Consulting. And my friends told me that, Dekho, you can't talk too much. You know your GD experience. Wipro's sales job will require you to talk to a lot of people, and they will not listen to you. So you don't take that job. Do this consulting job where you have to write PowerPoint, and maybe you can talk whatever is in PowerPoint. That might be easier. So I took their advice and took that job. It was quite good. I learned a lot in that feedback lectures. And then a friend of mine suggested to me that he was in ICSA. He said, you give advice and we give money. Money is higher than advice. You should come to this company. You learn more. And he was right. He said, when you give money, you learn a lot more because you are worried that it won't come back. Advice can be free. You can tell them anything. Nothing can happen. So I said, that's a very good point that he's making. So then I went into that money lending business for a while. And it was pretty good because, you want to be sure that, you're giving money to the right people, all that. So I learned a lot about business people, all of those things. So I think just to, long story short, so my career has been based mostly by elimination or whatever choice was available. And I was quite happy because I didn't have any other choice. After I say, I got married and I say, wasn't a great paymaster and people would go to work for multinational companies. And a friend of mine at G Capital was there. He said, this is a good paymaster. Why don't you come here, a similar type of job? My salary doubled, work was similar. So I said, why not? So that's how I went to G. From there again, someone advised me that G has this Genpact entity and the BPO industry is going to be big. And I was introduced to someone in Standard Chartered who was setting up a new center, who was an XG person. So I got that Standard Chartered job to do global delivery strategy because I somehow felt that maybe I've done banking for a bit, but I wasn't getting excited by bankers. Bankers were also causing crisis and
Hmm.
bad things. When I talked to some of the seniors, I was very impressed with them. So I said, yeah, I don't think I want to be that. I don't think I enjoy that. So somehow this BPO thing my rescue and I went into that field. And there's someone in Austin said that why don't you set up a data analytics team in Bangalore? We've been doing call center. Then I listened to him. So if you look at the why and how in my story to what you see on LinkedIn or anywhere else, you see the what, but why behind it is very organic that there were some options available and I did not like the current option at that point in time. The other option showed up. I chose it organically. It wasn't as if I had two options, it was just one. And therefore, life is just a series of choosing the next best option. Even till my last job, which was in Aditya Birla Group, my predecessor was leaving. And he called me and he said, this is a good team and you'll certainly enjoy it. You could certainly do for the job. I'll introduce you to my boss. I'll recommend your name and all that. So all my jobs have happened through such interaction that someone over there recommended me to their boss and I got the job. So therefore, it is quite a organic this thing. There was no long-term view in my mind that I need to be there. I just knew what I did not like, and therefore, whatever was the next best option, which was unknown, so it was obviously better than something that I didn't like. And later on, it had turned out to be good, and maybe at some point in time, I got bored of it, or I grew out of it, and I took the risk. So that's how I will describe the why of it and the how of it. How of it was all through friends. Initially through my papa, and then through my friends. So I would say that I can't take any credit for any of my decision making. My job is to help people take data-based decisions. There was no data involved. There was only gut feel of my papa and my friends involved in all my life decisions, even in my which was an arranged marriage.
No, I think your story on the JD is the group discussion is very interesting. One thing, Pankaj, and I'm just trying to be blunt here. Like I know that you're being modest with your career path, but tell me one thing. What I have learned or what I've heard is that someone of your stature, when someone needs to have a 30 years strong, always upward moving career path. I understand you mentioned that a lot of the times that was the only choice that was left, or there were some folks who actually vouched for you. But what I have heard that at least in our industry or the industry that you are in, uh, communication, networking, these are critical skill sets over your hard skills or over how much you know your subject. Now, what I could understand from your initial days, that of course you were probably not a natural speaker who loves talking a lot. Uh, how did you kind of overcome that kind of opportunity that you had, or you find an alternate route?
So networking and communication, you picked up two really good skill sets, Kaushik. So let me talk about both of them. They are slightly different for me in the way I approached it. So let's talk about networking first. It's talk about a lot, and sometimes I'm also designated a networker. Now, for me, I think I now when I look back, I was genuinely curious. So I still remember very, very long ago in my first job and all, there used to be a friend of mine who once commented that, whenever you meet someone, why are you interviewing them? That's why my maybe I was curious and I'll meet, they'll say, Kaushik, where are you from? What did you do? Where did you study? No, what are you working on? Whatever. So maybe I was just curious. And the friend of mine always felt that whenever I met someone, I was interviewing them. I wasn't interviewing them. I was just curiously learning from them on what they think from it. Oh, next, later on, someone said, you are Nokia. I said, what is that? You are connecting people. You will connect Kaushik to Sanjay and Sanjay to VT or whatever it is, right? And I say, because I have known you, I'll make some connection to say, oh, I think you will enjoy meeting so and so because they have similar interests or they are looking for something. So some of that was, I think, inherent in me, and I was doing it and I didn't know it. But I was told initially that you will do people every time you meet them. Then I was told you are connecting people and things like that, right? So somewhere I think maybe there was this sort of characteristics in me which did that. And later on, because I was doing this over and over again, I was seen as a networker because I would enjoy meeting people. More people will tell people that, oh, go meet Pankaj. He'll be a good guy to talk to and a good pharmacy code. So I developed that reputation. So then it became a positive reinforcement cycle and many people came to me and I would then connect them more, right? So I became a networker not by design, but because of the characteristic that I possess. And that's how that happened. And then I realized that I am that. Earlier, I didn't even know. I thought everyone would be curious and asking people what they do. Then I maybe know. I didn't realize that other people are not connecting each other. I thought, okay, it's natural that I know Kaushik needs this and Sanjay needs that. I should be connecting them. What's the big deal? So I was doing a lot of things common sensically, then realized that it was only my common sense. It wasn't general common sense. Communication was different. So when I was in banking, in banking, you don't talk to a large number of people. I mean, you talk one on one to the CFO, to the CEO, whatever. You are having more bilateral conversation. So when I came to Dell, which was my first large company job in a BPO environment in Bangalore back in 2005, 21 years ago, I realized that, oh, there are such large teams, and I could see some leaders stand up and talk to 500 people, sometimes to 1,000 people. Wow, this looks like a politician job. You could address so many people, and you don't know half of them who they are. So this skill of addressing people will be an important one. And I obviously remembered my MBA days. I couldn't even talk in a group discussion, forget talking to 200 people. So I said, how do I develop this skill? So I found an easy way. So Dell would hire people, and those days all these companies hired lots of people. There would be induction happening every Monday. People will join weekly. Monday morning, 10 o'clock induction. 100 people will join in. I had also undergone that induction. So I told Hema, who was in the HR team, that you know what, you to keep these inductions. Sometimes people morning don't come also because they have slept late. So you do one thing, that production to tell session, na, morning 10 o'clock, you give it to me. I will do it. She was so happy. Because there was a night shift and all. Many people will say, I'm not coming in the morning, I'm not going to that induction. So I took that induction. So I had every week morning people coming to hear about it from. They gave me a deck because I was also new. Over time, I developed some stories from my own experiences and otherwise. Then I removed the deck. Then later people told me that we think that we can do a story and update this deck also because I had added my own versions of it. So that's how I would say that maybe somewhere 10,000 hours of practice, you can say that by, inserting myself on unsuspecting new hires,
Hmm.
I learned about how to talk to people in a large audience. And over time, I think then that became a hobby. So now I just can't even go and present with a deck anymore. I have to be on my own. Unfortunately, I've become that. Sometimes people will give me a deck, I'll look at it, and there I'll go do something else. The toughest thing was when I was 3 times I've been asked to do a TEDx talk,
Hmm.
and there it has to be 18 minutes. Now I don't know because I don't practice. I don't have a deck, but somehow I was able to manage it. And but because I won't know that how much longer I will talk and where it ends, but somehow I manage it because I'm very extempore nowadays in everything that I do.
This is very enlightening. For example, a lot of the audience Uh, what they have heard is they need to improve networking, they need to improve communication, but quite honestly, there is no defined path. One thing that I will take from from the thoughts that you shared, Pankaj, is even if you think about networking, of course, someone comes with a core nature. But even if I can use my core nature in a particular way, because there is no fixed path that, person A may take another, like the way you took that you were helping connect multiple folks. And that's how you created a positive networking environment on the communication. Like you felt the urge by looking at some other and then you kind of found your own way. And of course I have seen your public speaking videos. Like I totally agree, no script, no presentation, just what comes naturally in your mind. uh, so again, great learning, something that I would also like to implement in my own.
Create frameworks for it, because sometimes it's easy to communicate when you can tell people a framework. Now, those frameworks were not created back then, but many of them were created later on by looking back and saying, okay, what is the common feature? And this networking, I have multiple times shared this framework, which I learned from someone called Manish Mehta and Dell many years ago, where he's described that the common feature of any networking conversation is that you share something with someone which they would want to know. You seek information from them they are good at, and you offer to help. So if I reflect on this, this is what I think we end up doing without knowing it. In our friends also, we are sharing, we are seeking, we are helping in any relationship. But when you put a framework to it, maybe you can do it more intentionally. So I kind of have coined this term for myself to say that our life journey should be from moving from intuition to intention. I was doing a lot of things intuitively, but over time, once I converted them into frameworks, I was able to do it more intentionally. And when you do it intentionally, you can do it with ungunated. You can tell other people also they can benefit from it. So I say that maybe we should think about everything that we do with that, reflect a bit, come up with some framework that, and now do it intentionally, and maybe then you can do it like a product manager.
I can totally relate to it, Pankaj. I think you explained it very simply, very easy to, at least for me now that I try to absorb. It's very easy to implement. Of course, that uh, intention has to be created, and based on that, probably I can put a framework towards it. Got it. Great. I just now quickly want to talk about your current role. Now you are working as a group chief data analytics officer at Aditya Birla Group. Now, if I think about this, this is just not a one company or vision. Like typically, that's how most of us are connected, where we are supporting one company. Some people supports one domain within a company. Uh, it's multiple business, and each at a different. I believe that, and you can correct me, each might be at a different data maturity level. Each will have its own priorities. Now, if I try to think someone sitting at your position, what really uh, kind of excites me is about the diversity, but at the same time, the curiosity is that how do you drive analytics transformations across such diverse organization, and what's been your biggest surprise? Like you have had so many years of experience, but what was still surprising new to you when you were kind of uh, recommended to hold this position, to lead this firm's data and analytics priorities?
I'll probably use the framework that I just articulated, which was why, how, what, and moving from intuition to intent. This particular case study. So when I started off, it was all intuitive. What do we do? So why? So initially, what would you do? I mean, function, because Aditya Birla is a large group with lots of enabling functions. All of those are very established. HR, finance, IT, everyone understood it. We were a new function, no one understood it. Right? So that's where we started. So intuitively, what do you do? You go to, we have this data science and data engineering skill. You can solve problems. The initial 1 or 2 years, our people went to businesses and found some problem. They solved it. And people started to business it. And then we said, okay, we solved it, but now you have to run it because we are a corporate function. You are the so you BOT it. So if to build it, then I need to have skill to run it and even improve it. Yes, we train a few of you. In some cases, we said, okay, we'll hire someone for you so that you can maintain it. Right? So we did a bunch of things, talent space, and people training them on hiring them. Then because people are asking us, what is the ROI of what we are doing? So then we have ROI or where to spend money, make versus buy, sort of a bunch of helping them. Thirdly, many times we create a solution we with for some partner. Now you have to also give the partnership the ecosystem skill to them to say you have now worked with these partners now that you are doing. Then sometimes we do something which has to be scaled across plants, across stores. And now you make a product with the scale. You have to, scale it and productize it and all that. And someone said, this is the best thing that you guys should have solved. Maybe it could be something more strategic. So strategy came into being with strategic or not. And someone said, is it more innovative or is it the same than other mistake? So all of these things were happening. So once after 2, 3 years of working across various business groups, our team sat down and said, what have we learned? We didn't use this term, but we were saying, can we convert our intuition to intention? Can we create a framework for whatever we have learned? And then we can do it more intensively versus doing it organically that we done. So the framework that was born around 1.5 years ago, we now call it the 3W. Yes, 10 boxes. These are, again, it's decided by how work, ways of at the top, ways of working in the middle, and ways of doing the bottom. It's as strategy governance, your knowledge, it has innovation research. Finally, there's a AI measure. These are the 10. Now that we created this framework, we said, okay, how do you apply it? So the AI box is the starting point of thinking to say there is a journey in the company, the team, our own team, from reactive, proactive, constantly scaling. There's a linear regression. Say you react to something solved. Then you are slightly more proactive and you are contributing. So shaping. Now is why can't we do this? It's totally right. You have to move from left to right. That was it. So that was the third box. But that is the thing you have to keep in mind that you have to keep it from left to right. Now the first one, strategy and governance, do a strategy workshop first. Now in this strategy workshop, come on, where is the business going, what is data and AI? At the end of it, you come up with things that data and AI can to transform or help shape. And some of the more difficult, innovative ones, our team partner some technical one we tried and they could, some other maybe some industry. So we have a set of projects. Innovative difficult ones beyond their sort of capacity at that point in time, we would pick up. We say we will do things which are something that you won't do now. So you will do something, just do it now. Something may happen which you will not reach. That's the first part, which is the strategy and governance part. And if you have governance, that then once you have identified the projects, then it is innovation and research. Say, okay, research and figure out new ways. Can you do it to agent take, like, you can have new approach, all of those things. And then come to the bottom. You use your data science, data engineering, data architecture to create an FPGA. That's then the middle one. You have the talent. You have to change the users. Maybe help with higher talent, help with the ROI, help with the setting, help with the ecosystem partnership is required, help with scaling. So now we are doing it more intentionally, what we are now doing, and we tell people, you know what, the journey, these 10 things not always be applicable. Be ready. We may need to hire people to get started now. So we can do it in parallel. Uh, that is the sort of journey with project that we work and partner with so that shape your business. That's the approach. Why and the how that we have to support that.
Great. This is helpful, Pankaj. One thing, like given that you, of course, you did put a structure and then you defined the entire strategic roadmap. One thing that at least what I have noticed, I have seen, or I have heard from some of the other guests is one of the critical or challenging components that they face when they're trying to implement a strategy is change management, because you need to work with a lot of non-technical uh, stakeholders as well. It's just not at least the data analytics leader and I am defining this is a strategy for the firm and everyone is going to follow it. I mean, especially if you want to implement something beyond POC. Uh, I mean, what was your approach? A proactive approach first, from very first day, bring in all those non-technical folks as allies, or like you pick as you move along?
So, when look at the implementation of this framework, we make sure that the first session, which is happening in the strategy session, you get all the different people. So in some the ideas created to be worked upon are not just us. You may have created some research and proposed something, but come together and say we have together generated we will work on. So you are actually forming a legal team of people from the word go. So when I talked about strategy and governance, the governance will have their people, our people. Uh, Innovation leaders, of course, our people will do something. But then our people will sit with the business people. So let's say if something will be maintained in a factory or a store. So then our folks will sit there. These days there's a term that Palantir uses, which is very popular. It's called forward deployment engineering. Without saying it, our people have been FDEs forever. So they would go sit with the business and understand who's the operator.
Yeah.
So there was one particular case where there was a machine which had a throughput based on the manual. The operator will not want to violate the manual. And almost your car should run only not do. Now we all know through some optimization technique we do better than that without harming it. So our people come up with the framework that this can be done. But how do you make it realize that a member of ours at the factory understood of the time that would actually work at the factory all the time. Let's see. Correct. So these things are happening very routinely. Identifying the project, co-creation, working with them for them to run with it. That has been our approach. Versus not very far away and model. So I think that is somehow possible because we are same country, the same location, can work with them, get an internal team. We can work very closely versus in some other situations that's how it's not possible. Therefore, when people ask me that, oh, 80% of AI projects fail, but does not take upon the three of the ways of thinking about people. If the ways of going, 80% is actually the change management, the ways of thinking. If you follow the three W, 100% of that is you involve them in defining the problem. You involve them in creating the MVP. Then why should it fail? It's their problem also. So my view is that failure that it's talked about. Now, if you talk about failure in a technical experiment and then well, that's a different failure. But last year, failure really always change management failure. We all know that always and also not as a soft science, but as a hard science. I that all these 10 boxes are really, really hard. So I think people that you should become a full stack human being. Learn the practical why we do understand the commerce that it makes, and then apply your technology. That's how every skill become a full stack person. The solution is stack thought through from humanity perspective, which is the business strategy perspective, from a commercial perspective, and from a technical perspective. There's no reason it will fail. It has to have 100% success if you apply it to it. Right?
Got it. Got it. Helpful, Pankaj. Uh, Now I would get into the question, which is the most interesting question, or that I was most excited about. There was something that you said in one of your previous podcast appearances, that जब purpose हो तो you don't realize whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday. And that line stayed with me, because when uh, when you look at today's world, like so many analytics professionals are chasing the next skill, next title, uh, rather than asking why any of this matters. So for you, uh, when did you kind of personally discover your purpose? And as a leader of a team, do you also help the people in your team to find their purpose?
So this one, this is an interesting area, purpose and passion and all of that. So I have several sort of flavors of takes on this. Let me share them with you one by one. So one is a framework that I have created for my own self and for my team members.
Mhm.
Which is a P framework, almost like a Maslow's pyramid. And I say that process, product, purpose. This is the way the at least I have seen the industry evolve in the last 30 years. We were all process owners once upon a time when life was very standard, stable, processes were stable. So process ownership was a role. You were a process owner of XYZ, and some people retired as process owner. And then when tech started coming in, the value migrated from process to product ownership. Process still remained,
Yeah.
but the value capture was happening by the product owner. Process people were running it, but they were not as valuable as the product owner. And I'm saying now that the value is now shifted to purpose ownership, not necessarily the product ownership. And purpose to me is nothing esoteric. The business goal, the job to be done. For that, you need to know processes. You need to create product, you need to create agentic, this thing, whatever it is. But the ownership you have to take is at a business goal level. So that is one definition of purpose in business and was you just say that in cement, my goal is to reduce the cost of cement bag by 2 rupees in 3 years. As simple as that. Now I'll make a digital twin, I'll make a predictive maintenance model, I'll do this and that, whatever it is, that's up to you. But you get that done. Your job is to reduce fraud claims in my health insurance business by X%. It's up to you as agent, you do whatever, we don't care, right? You do product, you do process, I am. So I think therefore, once you think of purpose in that sense to say process product, you should know, but that is not the job description that you should have. Your job description has to be something which is business. So that's number one. The other purpose wala hai that what do you stand for, why do you all that. And I think different individuals will have different ways of thinking about purpose. So if you were to ask me, what is my purpose in life? Not an easy answer. I mean, my purpose, I would say, are when I was very young, my nanny used to say, just be a good boy, be a good human being. I believe that I relate to it, I resonate with it. And that purpose cannot be unique. All of us can do that. There's nothing that I'm only doing it. Yeah. How I can be good or nice will be different because I may have some characteristics to bring goodness. You may have others and all that. But that can be a good purpose. And I'm quite happy. I'm very happy if someone says here, well, I say, yeah, I want to be a nice people, all that. And I'm very satisfied with that definition of purpose for myself. But there can be any number of other purposes. So I think over time, everyone can experiment with saying, what is that line? If I talk loudly to myself and to others, after a while resonates with me, I feel good about it. This purpose, it could be in any language, it could be in any words. So I don't know whether there's any right or wrong. But I think description or a that take to resonate with, tell other people, live by it. That could be one definition of purpose. I don't know whether you can come up with something, but I'm sure if you were to think about something you can come up with, maybe say, "Huh, this is good enough," and maybe it can change over time. Maybe you go over it and say, "No, no, no, this is not it. Something else is it." All that. So that is one. Thirdly, the one that you spoke about that without seeing anything, at a time we are so engrossed in something we're just enjoying it and you lost that's your time. And I mean, at least sports that happen, we have had many times. Would have maybe some sport you gone out and you forgot the time, and then your parents scolded you while you spent so much time and you didn't get time. And many other times could have happened where you were just busy with friends chatting about. So it could be anything. So I do think that that purpose could also be that something really engaging and engrossing that you can just do that for a long while without thinking about time. So therefore, this first question have many different manifestation. A very office manifestation of CP, a very philosophical manifestation of a phrase, and a manifestation of saying when I have lost track of time and it has happened to us and what happened then, why was it so important then? Can I again find some intention out of that intuition to say I really enjoy doing those things and maybe that is what my purpose should be. All of those probably I think Kaushik, maybe there are others. I don't think I'm an expert on purpose, but these are the various variants that I have come across and thought.
No, excellent. And I think one thing that, of course, I understand that there are certain non-work related purpose that all of us may have, and that may differ. Of course, it depending on our upbringing, our culture, our surroundings. But on the work front, I think one thing I would certainly like to keep with me is that there is importance of process product, but you mentioned about the purpose, like why you are doing something when you are supporting any particular organization or enterprise in achieving their goal. I think that is something critical, because at least what I have seen in my initial days, given my background was in pure academic and technical, I always used to delve into the technical criticality of the project, like how much of a lift I can bring in, what new technique I'm going to use. But that's not the main purpose for which I was hired in the company. I was hired so that I can generate X amount of alpha or cost save. Or no, uh, this is very important.
I remember when you were telling me also that Professor Ramadan, who's very well known in the industry, and many years ago, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, attended a session which I attended. And I just remember the first line he said. I'm sure he must have said many other lines which were worth remembering, but somehow I only remembered one. He said, all of you guys, you should remember one thing. The moment a new team member walks into your company, your first job is to help them understand how does your company make money, and what they do contribute to that. If you don't do that, then you're doing a disservice to the employee and to the company and to yourself. I think in a sense, we are saying the same thing, that, there is a way that your business contributes value to the society, to the customer. Figure out how you contribute to that. It is good. We feel good that, we helped the customer or we did something for someone or whatever. So I do think that that connection, if made good, many a time we take pride in just some technical activity that I did something because, sometimes we have been rewarded for great problem solving in our school and college, and just solving a very difficult problem makes us feel good. But we all know that the value gets created. So I always say that whatever you are telling is all potential. Show me kinetic, show me value creation, show me dollars, show me metric movement. Then only I'll be happy.
Again, what I believe that probably comes with thinking, probably comes with experience. So great that you were sharing it, especially because I think this delving into or getting into more complex technical elements is getting more prevalent in this age, because there are so many new technical things to get into. Like, at least that's what I see in some of the younger folks that I work with, that their priority is that whether in my resume I will be able to write the latest and the greatest that's in the industry, and not much focus on why it was useful. So I'm hoping that this will at least help them think twice, that for what purpose they are in that enterprise.
I which is appeared very obvious, but for long. Obvious, even our future. This, uh, the, the role of teamwork and the analogy that I gave is that there are different sports, the badminton, there's cricket, all of that. In every sport, there's a different role. In hockey, you can be a goalkeeper, whatever. They're all very different roles. So in every company, there's a team which you have to figure out what your role is. Are you good at it? So maybe in some company, you are not really relevant because you were meant for something else. You have to also figure out how you contribute value and in which context can you contribute value. You can't be a football goalkeeper in a hockey field or a cricket wicket keeper in a badminton court. And sometimes we don't realize it. I'm just using it as an analogy because we all keep relate to it that, yeah, oh, absolutely, that's still. Sometimes you have to also see that what unique skill that you bring to the table and the thing that is around you, is that unique skill actually useful, or you are like a source some not relevant, or can you become that? So something like that, that whole broader picture of a team, I think sometimes is lost on us, and we think that we bring some very great skills, and if we continue to do our job, life will happen. We all know that in the team, have to think about the larger team and you have to win the game, which is the business goal. So I think I try to make this analogy of a sport in a company. Say that in your sport thing, that you have a role, someone else has a role, you have to pass, they have to put a goal, all that. So this is the same thing. You have to pass something to someone, they will make something. So try to imagine how your work will create value, and are you uniquely adding value or not? And that's not almost always told, but I think if you can start thinking on those line, it will be nice.
I think that's also a source of happiness, if someone is sorted. That, yeah, I mean, I kind of sometimes feel that, I mean, we probably heard that story that probably an elephant, a monkey, and a fish. Uh, sure that I don't remember exactly the characters, but all of them were asked to participate in climbing a tree, a competition of climbing a tree. So, and in that it was proved that the monkey was stronger than the elephant. So, and so Right. Great. Pankaj, as we are kind of closing into our conversation, two quick uh, questions that I would be interested. I'm sure the audience would love to know. That first one is that if there is a book, or maybe it could be a movie, or it could be anything else that changed how you think, like it had a lot of influence on how you thinking, which you typically recommend to others who are at their early stage or at the middle of their career, or even as a simple improving their as a human element to be happy with what they are doing. Would you like to recommend anything for the audience?
Yeah, yeah. And I can remember some of those books, but I just don't read books. I only read those books which have been highly recommended. I am reasonably sure that it will change my perspective drastically. Otherwise, I don't pick up because I'm just not a good reader. So the first book that was there was *Sapien* by Yuval Harari. I've heard about it. It did change my worldview about humanity and how it's the world and the way he kind of describes that our ability to imagine things collectively is our differentiation. So the main message that was number one. The second book was a book called The Blind Watchmaker by Richard Dawkins. He's a evolutionary biologist, and he talks about evolution versus religion on how it's a very fascinating book on how in some ways nature is a blind watchmaker. There's no fault. It, and he describes in a way of how it is. I really like that book. The third book was related to gender diversity, and we talk about it a lot in our corporates. And this book is called The Invisible Women, based on data, very hardcore data. Just to L1, L2, L4, L5 level of thinking about this topic. We always think about normally L1, L2, we are quota and wants to build a healthy society, a healthy family. So, especially the men and also there's another lecture which is with the professor called Professor Sanders in Harvard. And it's all public, of course, there on philosophy. It's a 4 half an hour lecture, 12 hours. Philosophy. He explained what is really philosophy all about. When you try that a lot of things are really philosophy is really questioning everything, trying to find answers and trying to find uh, it's very fascinating on how different philosophers came one after the other. They changed thinking about human behavior, human society, how we should organize ourselves, all of that. So I really like that. The book is called The Donut Economics. So this is a create a economy. The donut really represents the inner circle of this, represents you can say the universal basic. Everyone should have the minimum. Everyone should be beyond less than that. Outer circle of the donut represents the capacity of the earth to provide for you. You can't on the environment. It gives a very nice perspective on how to think about the society or economy as a donut with an inner control and an outer control. And what kind of policy making you can do to make that happen at an individual level. What so I would say philosophy, economics, evolutionary biology, society, university. In many areas, some of these have really helped change my view. There was another one whose name I'm forgetting, but this is again a book on which basically says that our version of history, that the way we did it, is probably just one version of it. Maybe there are other ways in which you can think about it, and don't imagine that that's it's a nice story. It's almost like you have fitted a curve things and nice, but that's not necessarily the case. So I really like that also. Being a data person, I would say, yeah, people discovered something, put two and two together in the story and said, wow, possible, but there are other possible. So I really like that. I think in every subject, if I can say, I have found a book which has changed my perspective of that subject.
Got it. No, I think, and also as you mentioned, I think that again an interesting point that that you are probably not an avid reader who always like there are some folks who will read throughout their life, so that's why you are picky in which books you would like to spend time on. It should add some value, some new perspective that you didn't know before reading the book. Great.
But AI book also, a lot of people say you are an AI guy, you didn't say that. The book I read, which is called Life 3.0. It's the future, about the future and what's going to happen and all that. By the way, there's another one called, I think, AI 347 or by a Chinese author. But I started, but I didn't finish it. So these are a couple of AI books. So if someone is interested in Life 3.0, I really like it. Thinking what can happen, yeah, AGI happen and what are possible.
Excellent. One other thing, again, your entire career has been into consulting, then data analytics, data science. Let's say if Pankaj, you were born in an era where nothing called data science consultancy existed, what path you would have chosen to maintain the same level of happiness that you are able to maintain through this path?
Actually born in the era where it is not this. Either I was born on the day Neelam's song landed on the moon. But, I was also called Polo. But it, I look at 93, we had not heard about the word ethics or data science or even cloud or any of those. So if you look at again, reflect on my story, I was just somehow actually jumping on to another new thing, and it turned out good for me. Could have turned out to be bad. I have had
Okay.
several of mine, colleagues of mine who started around the same time, but they may not have always found happiness in what they did. It could be a factor of two things. One, maybe they were lucky to get the wrong on, or they didn't intend it to be good. I don't know. It's very hard to say whether something is absolutely bad or you are interpreting it too bad. It's very difficult. Is that movie bad or you think it's bad? You don't know, like something good, something bad. So I think that it's more of an attitude of uh, positive, trying to create value. I think that's someone that they could actually they have to find happiness from inside us, and not outside us. We all know. So how do we say that we will be the value adding catalyst element wherever we are? We are able to raise that question to ourselves. Say, wherever I go, whoever I am, can I be a net positive? Can I be a go giver? And not in a sense that I'm giving it away, but I'm going to contribute something. And I put that meaning here to feel good about. So I do think that giving is a more long lasting source of happiness than getting. But I do something to happy for longer. So I do think that very well known. Can we again move from that intuition to intent and do it more intensely? More often?
Got it. No, thank you. Thanks, Pankaj, for sharing your perspectives. I personally felt that this has been a masterclass of conversation. Yeah, really some newer, a different, unique way of thinking, and that's the sole purpose of this podcast to bring out how the folks behind those resume or those fancy titles really think about life and their career. And to the audience, until next time, keep learning, keep resonating, and always remember that your career is more than what's on your resume.